This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
You're listening to the Icon Podcast. I am your host, Gianna, and today we've got the opportunity of talking to Henry Eisenstein. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on.
Of course. Excited to get to know you and talk to you. We had a little bit of a conversation off camera. So while Henry knows pretty much everything about me, we don't know anything about him just yet. So take us back to the beginning, Henry. Who are you? Where are you from? How did you find yourself in real estate?
So a quick back history is I was a terrible student. Didn't know what I wanted to do growing up. Barely graduated high school. I was actually bullied for a number of years. So I was one of those people that you'd never bet on to become anything. And look, I wouldn't have bet on myself either. So barely graduated high school. When I got out, I ended up getting a lucky opportunity to work with these two fantastic guys who owned a kids party place called Pump It Up out here in New Jersey. And within 2 years, because they were the only people in my life that really believed in me, I was able to go from the low-level employee to the GM, managing 2 stores. I had about 40 employees that reported to me by the time I was 20. But I was making like 45, 50 grand a year, at 20 years old. Didn't have a college degree, and I thought I made it. I quit college.
That's pretty good for 20. That was like a salary that I would have died for at 20.
100%. I thought I was rich, and I was walking around with wads of cash in my pocket, like the whole gamut. So, yeah, exactly. I thought I was a hot shot, but I was working 100 hours a week for somebody else. And, all I wanted to do was become an entrepreneur. That was like the big thing. My entrepreneurship skipped a generation. My grandparents were entrepreneurs, then my parents, school teacher and, back-end support manager. But long story short, though, a friend of mine came to me and was like, hey, listen, I'm thinking about getting my real estate license. My buddy's making $20,000 a month in the business, and I think that we should get our licenses. And I was like, 20 grand a month, that's more money than I've ever heard of. And I knew the kid who was making that kind of money, or so it seemed. I quit the job without even having my license yet, and I jumped in the business in 2015.
Okay, awesome. Oh, cool. Okay, so went from one industry to the other, but you feel like, wow, I do have potential here. Here's some traction that I can pick up on. Here's something that I've found out about myself or something that I like. So let's go into real estate. So here you are. How did you find EXP? How was that introduced to you? What was that transition like for you?
Sure. So first 2 years kind of sucked. Listen, I was 21 years old when I got in the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Sure.
no sphere of influence, no nothing. And I ended up joining, after the second year, I ended up joining a team because I had joined the Tom Ferry coaching group, and they told me to go to a Tom Ferry event. So I did that. And at that event, I had heard this awesome guy speak on stage. And within 2 weeks, I was working for him because I was just like, I want to be like this guy growing up. So he was at Keller Williams at the time. And then a few years later, after I had left his team, but we kept in touch, I had built up a pretty substantial business at that point, and he basically said, hey, we're moving to EXP Realty. And actually took me about a month, it took me about a year and a half of saying no to him before I actually made the switch. So I ended up making 2020, June 2020.
Do you wish you had done it sooner?
Let's just say it's cost me a few dollars.
Left a little bit of money on the table, huh, Henry? Well, that's cool. Okay, so you finally made it over here. And now that you're in it and you're killing it, obviously, because you're an Icon agent, what do you love about EXP that maybe you didn't expect?
I think it comes down to a few key things. Number one, the freedom. I like a company that doesn't hound me for anything. Like, they just trust they know what I'm doing, and I appreciate that by any company that kind of just lets you, when they leave you alone, they know that you know what you're doing. I think is number one. But most importantly, the stock options and the downline is definitely something that I didn't expect to be as good as it actually is. I'm a huge fan of passive income because I'm very heavy in the investment space. So, I never thought that the downline would amount to what it is, and I wouldn't imagine the stock options would make me as much as it has. So I'm definitely because it's been typically all talk until you actually see the brass tacks numbers.
Right, absolutely. And you talked about a little bit the rev share, the stock options, commission. There's three streams of income here, which totally sets apart from any other brokerage, which is awesome. And Henry, before we dive into all things being an icon agent and production and business sided, let's talk about you, your work-life balance. How do you prioritize that for yourself? Draw the line between work and play and be able to recharge.
Sure. So if you asked me this question 18 months ago before I met now my fiance, I'd say I have absolutely no balance whatsoever. 100-hour work weeks is what I'm known for. I literally would go to the beach in a suit because I was always working. That's just how my life was. And then now I work about 10 to 20 hours a week, if that. I spend most of my time traveling. I spend most of my time with my dog and my fiance, just kind of enjoying life. Never thought that was actually a possibility, and still keep up production, still keep up income. And, it's kind of been I enjoy spending time with my family. I still have all four of my grandparents around, so spending time with them means a lot to me as well.
Yes, that's great. And congratulations on your engagement. How exciting, Henry. Well, that's awesome. Being able to be in a career in an industry that allows you to balance family and focus on the things that you really want to focus on. And moving past that, let's talk production in your area. So share with the listeners, what market you're in, what the average housing price looks like, and how many homes you have to sell to be able to cap.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to give you two examples, and I'll tell you why. Because my business has drastically changed in the last 18 months, so it's a little different than a conventional opportunity because I do residential and commercial business. So I'm in New Jersey. I really cover the whole state. I feel like Jersey is one of those states where it's only 4 hours total. So going an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours in either direction.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually dead center, so it makes it easy for me to do that.
Cool. Yeah.
About an hour south of Manhattan is where I live. So, and then in regards to production numbers, so about 2 years ago, 2020, did about 118 units, my best year, between on and off market transactions. Average price point back then was about 400. But now go to today, I only do about 60 transactions a year, but I do a lot of different types of business. So I deal with a lot more commercial. About 60% of the business now is commercial. I do about 40 to 50 transactions a year resi, and then I do about 20 to 25 commercial, but much bigger transactions. So my average commission right now is about 60 grand.
Okay.
So it typically only takes me, probably about 20 to 30 deals to cap.
Awesome.
So it's definitely, that's how I've been able to kind of shift from working killer hours to a lot less time.
That's great. That's great. And Henry, beyond production, being an icon agent also asks a cultural requirement of you, a cultural commitment. And I guess it's not a requirement, but if you want, half of the stock back, you have to be able to commit to that and give back to EXP, which helps the morale, the community, the training hours, because it's being taught by the best of the best. So what avenue do you take for that, for your cultural commitment? Why do you choose that path?
Yeah, so it's funny. I mean, you might hate me for it, but I mean, I don't even know if I've done those. I know the one that I've done, I do a lot of free coaching. I'm all over YouTube. I love giving away for free. I don't even care about the extra couple dollars in stock, but I love that they do it. I know that the one time I think I registered for it last year. It was more of the training, doing training opportunities for people.
Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, definitely keep track of those things so that you make sure to check that off so you can get that stock back. I don't hate you for that answer. The other day I had some guy be like, I'll be honest with you, Gianna, it's a waste of my time. I don't do it. And I'm like, fair enough, because obviously he directs that energy and time to production. So while he's still probably making up for that cap that he left on the table, it's not stock options, but there's ways to balance that out. So to each their own and their own business model. Again, one of the cool things about EXP. And Henry, as far as being an icon agent, you get that cap back in stock. EXPCon shareholders, a little more stock for that, a big glass shiny trophy. So what's your favorite part about being an icon agent? Why do you set that on a list of standards for yourself year after year?
Yeah, so I don't even know if it's ever been even a goal of mine to do that. I just I know what my potential is, and anything less would be kind of I look at it like, a big thing that's been always motivating to me is I don't have kids yet, but my future kids, being able to look at them and really by showing them through results that this is what's possible if you give it 100%.
Absolutely. That's
So
awesome.
It just becomes like an end result of just doing what I know is possible anyways.
Hard work, being recognized for it, and not just with a plaque. Now there's monetary value behind that baby. So, all the better, right? Everybody loves a pat on the back, but people love money just a little bit more. So, Henry, as a high producing agent, do you use like virtual assistants at all, or how do you leverage out some activities that, of course, you've had to give up along the way to be able to focus more on production?
Yeah, so that was one of the first things my mentor told me a long time ago, building out my team. So, my biggest, I was actually at 11 full-time employees who were doing about 10 to 15 transactions a month, like I said. And nowadays, I literally have 2 full-time assistants. That's it. Because my business has shifted so much, I literally have 2 full-time assistants, but I don't do any paperwork.
Okay.
Anything that's $15 to $20 an hour that can be delegated should be delegated. So, I'm a big fan of, like, once you start hitting 10 to 20,000 a month in actual net income after your broker fees and everything, I do believe hiring your assistant is definitely it's like almost like a necessity. It's a need. You have to do it. The only way to scale is through proper delegation.
That's right. I'm gonna write that down. The only way to scale is through proper delegation. It's important. People don't get that. And if you're looking to icon within your first year, or set that as a goal for yourself. If you're new to the real estate industry, that's something you just have to understand. And speaking of Henry, if somebody was coming to you and they're like, Henry, I really want to icon in my first year. It's my first year with EXP, or it's my first year even as a real estate agent with EXP. What's some advice you have for them, or some major mistakes to avoid if that goal is even attainable?
Yeah, I mean, listen, hitting icon in your first year. I'm not going to say it's impossible by any means. I think what I've done is, if someone told me it was, I wouldn't have thought it was possible either. So again, I don't want to ever say it's impossible, but I'm a huge fan of cold calling. I'm a huge fan of prospecting in general, and I think that anybody who tries to do anything but be on the phones for any extended period of time on a daily or weekly basis, I think is you're kind of making it's just not possible. I don't think that's possible at all. It takes an ungodly amount of outward output. It takes a lot of phone calls. It takes a lot of being on the phones, connecting with people. Like, the only way we make money in this business is through other people. So if you're not speaking to more people, not just posting on social media or scrolling on Instagram, if you want to make money, you need to be connecting with people. So biggest thing I can ever tell you is just like the more output, the more input, or the more you're going to get, right? The more output you give out, the more you're going to get in income. And the only other thing that I'll say in regards to biggest mistakes is I'll even just say, like, just not realizing that this is a relationship-based business. I wouldn't be 1/100th of what I am today without the people in my life. A large part of my income nowadays is through not only the team delegation that I've done, but also through referrals. So it takes both. It takes both. And by not spending time meeting new people, by not spending time on the phones, you're delaying your own success for no reason.
Right. Absolutely, Henry. And with that in mind, leaning into your mentors and taking on training and not influencing, but interacting with that sphere of influence, and leveraging out the tasks that you don't have time for, and getting involved with the community, it's all going to contribute to that. You need to make sure that you are looking at like revenue producing things, while also looking at like word of mouth marketing production as well. And Henry, were you ever skeptical of EXP when it was first introduced to you?
Absolutely. It took me 18 months to switch.
What were your reservations about it?
I just didn't think it would be that different.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that like it really didn't matter. I was doing well. I was already technically an icon agent at the previous company, like production.
Sure. Like you were hitting the production marks. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I didn't think it was that big of a difference. And I was like, why would I and I also thought it was going to cost so much to switch. I had all these crazy stories that I made up as to why it wouldn't make sense for me. And when in reality, it probably cost me more than $250,000 not to switch.
Sure.
Just because I would have gotten, not only everything else that would have been perfect, because like, doesn't matter when you join, you're going to make more money. But I would have gotten in perfectly right before like that spike that went to $180. If I would have had another year's worth of purchasing stock the way I like the amount of money that I purchased stock with my commissions, yeah, I probably would have made about $250,000 on that. So missed out on a huge opportunity. Life is life.
That's right. That's right. You came over when you were supposed to, but man, does it kind of make you want to kick yourself for not doing it sooner? And for those watching, stock is low right now. If you're going to make the move, now's a good time. And Henry, that being said, for somebody watching right now, and maybe they're skeptical of EXP, right? Their broker's been like, oh, it's a pyramid scheme. It's a cult. You do not want to go over there. Like, why would you? Obviously trying to talk them out of it because your broker's making money off you. They want you to stay. So what would you have to say to somebody watching you right now on this episode to get them to make the move sooner? Or, if you could go back in time and have a talk with yourself to kind of set it aside and what makes it so different for you?
Yeah. Again, two things. One, try it. What's the worst thing that happens? You try it, you hate it, right? Give it an opportunity. I feel like, everyone thinks switching is such a big deal, but people will list with you no matter what company you're with. And the second thing is that your broker has one thing in mind: their own business. They don't have you in, because I promise you, as I'll give you an example. When I switched from Keller Williams, I was very close with all the people at my office, and I'm telling you, within 2 weeks of switching, no one called me ever since. And it's like, they make it about them. They try to tell you that they're not friends. They're not friends. I'm telling you, this business is sadly not about friendships when it comes to brokerages, right? So anybody who you think is quote unquote a friend because you work there. And the second you don't work there anymore, and you're going to off to be better, doing bigger and better things, they're not going to talk to you. And that's just not friendship. So, again, acting as a friend, as a family member, try it.
Yes.
The only people who I see leave this company are people who don't take advantage of everything it actually offers.
Right. You have to be a self-starter with EXP. And it's a beautiful environment for people that are self-starters and want to get involved and want to pick people's brains. And this is the place for you if you find that you're a natural self-starter. And, it's got so much to offer. 3 opportunities for income streams and earning your cap back in stock, the community. There's a lot of things that EXP has to offer that others try to mimic, but they can't master it the way that EXP has.
And they're not going to.
Nope. There's a reason that we are at I would say closer to 84,000 agents at this point. And it's not really a matter of if you come into EXP, it's when. And Henry, are you going to be at EXPCon?
Sadly, no.
Dang, that's okay. Well, I'm sure I'll catch you at another event. But is there anything that you want to leave the listeners with today as we wrap it up?
Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. Spend the extra money. Spend the extra time. Take a chance of going to EXP. Take a chance of hiring an assistant. Take a chance and bet on yourself. If I would have never bet on myself years ago, I would have never ever be where I'm at today. And it's
absolutely
the industry is a blessing. So take advantage.
I love that. Bet on yourself. That's incredible. And again, kind of going back to Henry's point that the only way to scale your business is to delegate. So whether that's hiring out people, whether that's getting involved and coming over to EXP and doing a new business model and giving up a little bit of control while you can, or getting involved with a virtual assistant or just bringing some more help to your company. Just so you know, Sphere Rocket is the #1 virtual assistant company in the world. Appointments are set every week because the cool thing about this model is they will tell you if a VA is for you or not at this point in your business and what you might need one for. Or, you could work on hiring people stateside, whatever feels right for you and your business model. Make the call, ask your questions. At least you'll know. Same thing applies to coming over to EXP. Do your research, reach out to the source, reach out to Henry if you are interested in making that move and have some more questions, or you may think it may not be that good, but he made the move. He made a bet on himself and now is reaping the benefits. So Henry, thank you so much for your time today. And bummed I won't see you in Vegas, but I'm sure we'll run into each other at another event soon.
I believe that.
Awesome. Well, we'll be in touch. Thank you, Henry, for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course. Bye-bye.
This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success, and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.